Let's start in that space you try not to enter, the one you avoid when the room goes quiet, when it's just you and your thoughts. That faint ache you feel in stillness, the chill that slips in during those last moments before sleep takes you. You might tell yourself it's nothing, that it's just pressure or fatigue or some passing concern. But deep inside, you sense the truth. It's something more than stress. It's not a person or a problem. It's not your job or a missed opportunity. It's older than that, quieter, and far more persistent. It's the ache you've grown so used to that you barely recognize it anymore. The hollow behind the routine, the static behind the smile. It's that slow, creeping feeling that somewhere along the way, you've drifted from yourself. And you don't even remember when it started. There's a part of you that wonders if this path you're walking really belongs to you, or if you're just repeating what someone else told you life should be. Maybe you followed the map because it seemed safe. Maybe it looked right on paper. Maybe you were just trying to be what others needed. And yet, here you are, breathing, moving, laughing when expected, making plans that look fine from the outside. But inside, you're not living. You're maintaining. You're treading water. You've become so good at keeping it together that no one even knows how far apart you feel. You start to question things. Not just the big things, but everything. Every choice, every yes, every "this is just how it is." You wonder if you're faking more than you thought. If you've molded yourself into a version of you that feels digestible, agreeable, presentable, and in doing so, you've buried the parts that never stopped screaming for air. Let's call it what it is: fear. But not the obvious kind, not the cinematic version with monsters and panic. Number this is the quiet kind, the kind that hides in your habits, in your hesitation, in the things you don't say, in the calls you don't return, in the messages you rewrite 5 times before hitting send or deleting entirely. It's the fear that walks with you into every room, the fear that checks if you're too much or not enough, the fear that someone will finally see that you're barely holding on. And underneath it all, deeper than fear itself, lives a belief. One you've nurtured in silence. One that says, maybe I'm not okay. Maybe I never have been. But let me say something that might jolt you. That fear you carry was never really yours. You weren't born with it. You didn't arrive into this world worrying about what people thought, or whether you'd fail, or if you were worthy. That fear was taught, conditioned, handed down, layer by layer, word by word, experience by experience, until you wore it like skin. And now it feels like part of you. But it isn't. It's an echo of someone else's doubt, a shadow of someone else's shame, and you fed it every time you told yourself to stay small, to be quiet, to blend in. Let's talk about anxiety, that shape-shifting ghost that never shouts, never strikes, but eats away at you slowly. It's the tension you carry in your shoulders, the knot in your gut, the breath you forget to take. It's living like the world is one giant minefield, and every step could blow up. You don't know what the danger is exactly. You just feel like something could go wrong at any second. But here's the brutal twist. The threat isn't outside. It's not life. It's not other people. It's you. Or more specifically, it's what you believe about yourself. It's the words you speak to yourself when the world goes quiet. And if you listen closely, you'll hear it. I'm not enough. I can't do this. They'll see who I really am. That's the voice behind the anxiety. And it's exhausting. I know, because I lived there too. I built a life around avoiding discomfort. I pretended I had it all figured out while feeling like I was breaking piece by piece. I hid my fear behind productivity, behind being fine, behind a perfectly rehearsed life. But I wasn't fine. I was drowning behind a smile. And it wasn't the anxiety that broke me. It was the war I waged trying to hide it. Because we're taught to fear fear, to run from it, to shame it, to act like it's weakness. But the truth? The truth is, fear only loses power when you stop running, when you sit with it, when you look it dead in the eye and say, I see you. You don't get to control me anymore. Fear is a mirror. It reflects the places you've avoided, the truths you've denied. And anxiety is the body's signal that something's out of alignment, that you've strayed too far from yourself, that you're living someone else's life. It's not there to punish you. It's not there to hurt you. It's there to get your attention. The world teaches us to survive, to stay safe, to play roles. And in that safety, we lose ourselves. But safety without authenticity is a cage. One with soft cushions and polite applause, sure, but a cage all the same. You can be safe and still feel dead inside. And listen, I know it's terrifying to let go of fear. Because fear feels familiar. It feels like protection. It tells you who to be, what not to try. It draws the lines. But those lines aren't walls, they're illusions. They don't keep you safe. They keep you small. You've probably heard your whole life that fear makes you weak. That confidence is the goal. That strength means never showing doubt. But that's not strength. That's performance. True strength is being honest. It's walking forward even when your legs shake. It's saying, I'm afraid, but I'm here anyway. And you don't need anyone's permission to begin. No one is coming to save you. No one's going to show up and say, it's your time now. You decide that. You give yourself the green light. You choose to stop living like fear is your ruler and start walking like it's your shadow. You might still feel like you don't know who you are. That's okay. You might feel like you've worn so many masks for so long that you forgot your real face. But that's not the end of your story. That's the beginning of your return. And it starts with a question. How many of your choices were made because you were afraid? And how many opportunities did you let pass because of that same fear? When you answer that honestly, you'll see it clearly. Fear has been driving the car for too long. But here's the wild part. It only keeps driving because you never told it to stop. You don't have to conquer fear. You don't have to crush anxiety. You just have to stop letting them make your decisions. And yeah, it's going to feel weird at first. You'll want to turn back. You'll want to go back to what's familiar. But familiar isn't the same as right. Just because you've lived this way doesn't mean it's how you're meant to keep living. Fear isn't the end. It's the threshold. It's the door you're meant to walk through. And when you do, when you start choosing yourself, even in whispers, even in small steps, everything changes. You don't become fearless. You become free. But we're not done yet. There's something else under all of this. Deeper than fear, beneath anxiety, hiding in the foundation. Control. That quiet addiction we all carry. The desperate need to manage everything. To predict. To plan. To know what's coming so we can brace for it. You run scenarios in your head. You overthink conversations that haven't even happened. You prepare for failure before you've even begun. You convince yourself that control will keep you safe. But here's the truth. No one wants to hear. Control is a myth. You never had it. You were never meant to. And the more you cling to it, the more you lose your grip on the present. Because life doesn't unfold according to plan. It doesn't follow scripts. It flows. It surprises. it shifts. And when you're too busy trying to control it, you miss the point entirely. Anxiety tells you that control equals safety, that thinking ahead will protect you, that staying on guard will keep the pain away, but all it does is steal your peace. Control is the ego's way of saying, if I can predict it, I can survive it. But you're not here just to survive. You're here to experience, to feel, to create, to live. And that means letting go. Letting go of perfection. Letting go of timelines. Letting go of being right all the time. That means trusting something bigger than your fear. Trusting yourself, maybe for the first time ever. You're still here. That means something inside you is listening. Maybe something even deeper is waking up. So let's go further. Into the silence behind the noise. Into the part of you that you've kept buried beneath the busyness. That quiet part that's been waiting for you to stop pretending, to stop performing. Because under all the fear, beneath the craving for control, is something else. Something even more universal. The need to feel safe in your own body. And that's where most people get stuck. Because modern life, in all its speed and distraction, has pulled you out of your body and locked you inside your head. You spend your days thinking, planning, worrying, fixing, constantly living in your thoughts. You've learned to trust your mind more than your gut. You've built your identity in words and logic. But your body? You treat it like a vehicle, not a home. Yet the truth is, the body knows. It always has. It holds the tension you won't speak. It carries the pain you didn't process. It remembers the fear you tried to forget. Every shallow breath, every clenched jaw, every tight muscle is a story you haven't heard yet. You've learned to ignore those stories, to push through, to function. You're praised for your discipline, your productivity, your ability to keep going no matter what. But keeping going is not the same as healing. And movement without presence isn't growth. It's escape. Your body is not a machine. It's a living, breathing compass. It reacts before your brain even catches up. It signals truth before words can shape it. And the more disconnected you are from it, the louder it has to speak. That chronic fatigue, that heaviness in your chest, that restlessness at night. It's not random. It's not weakness. It's a message. And that message is simple. Come back to the now. Come back to your breath. Come back to the ground beneath your feet. Because the only place fear has real power is in your imagination. In the future, that hasn't happened. In the stories you spin when you're disconnected from the moment. Right now, this second, you're okay. Right now, there's breath, there's gravity, there's life. You don't need to solve anything in this exact moment. You just need to be in it. But we've been taught to avoid stillness. We've been taught that stillness equals laziness, that rest is indulgent, that quiet is wasted time. So we fill every second with noise, with movement, with checking, scrolling, responding, achieving, not because we're thriving, but because we're running. Running from the pause, because in the pause, everything we've been suppressing shows up. That's the great illusion of productivity. That if we just do more, we'll feel more valuable, more valid, more whole. But wholeness doesn't come from what you do. It comes from who you allow yourself to be when you're doing nothing. And that's terrifying, isn't it? To sit in silence with yourself and realize that without the roles, without the masks, without the achievements, what's left? Who are you? Really? Most people don't want to answer that question. So they keep moving. Keep pretending. keep distracting themselves with the illusion of progress. But eventually, the noise isn't enough. Eventually, the emptiness catches up. Eventually, the version of you that you've constructed starts to feel like a costume that doesn't fit anymore. And then the real work begins, because here's the part no one tells you. Fear isn't the real enemy. Attachment to who you think you are, that's the root. We build identities like armor. I'm strong. I'm successful. I'm a helper. I'm the one who never gives up. We attach to these images because they make us feel safe. They give us a script, a role to play. But what happens when that role becomes a prison? When you've outgrown it, but you're afraid to take it off? What happens when you wake up and realize that the version of you the world loves is not the real you? This is the crossroads. The moment when you have to decide, will I keep pretending to be who I've always been? Or will I finally make space for who I actually am? That choice is hard. Because if you let go of your old identity, who are you now? What do you believe in? What do you want? And can you handle the discomfort of becoming someone new? Most people never ask those questions. They settle, they adapt, they shrink. But not you. You're still listening. You're still here. That means something inside you is done with shrinking. And here's the truth you need to hear right now. You are not broken. You are becoming. You are not lost. You're transitioning. You are not weak. You've just been carrying a life that isn't fully yours anymore. It's okay to change. It's okay to outgrow your past. It's okay to break your own rules. And it's more than okay. It's necessary. You don't have to justify your evolution. You don't need permission to outgrow people, patterns, or personas. You don't need to explain why you're choosing different now. The only thing you need is honesty. Honesty with yourself. Ask yourself the question that breaks illusions. Am I actually living? Or am I just performing survival? And if it's the second, what would it look like to stop? To actually stop? To get off the autopilot? To step out of the noise? To let go of the version of yourself that's built entirely on fear, control, and approval? What would it look like to live for you? It might look like setting boundaries that disappoint people. It might look like saying no more often. It might look like finally starting the thing you keep telling yourself you're not ready for. It might look like taking a deep breath and admitting, I don't want this anymore. That's not failure. That's clarity. That's not weakness. That's awakening. And yes, it will scare you. Yes, you'll feel lost for a while. But what's scarier? Feeling lost for a season? Or never feeling alive again? So let me say something you may not have heard enough. You are allowed to rebuild your life from scratch. You are allowed to question everything. You are allowed to be both terrified and ready. And your fear? It's not a sign you're doing something wrong. It's a compass. It points toward the edges of your comfort zone, toward the territory you haven't claimed yet. Fear doesn't mean don't go there. It means this matters. So don't run from it. Follow it. Walk straight into it, eyes open, heart pounding, step by trembling step. Because on the other side of fear is you, the real you, the one who's been waiting behind all the layers, the one who doesn't need to prove or justify or apologize, the one who creates, who feels, who speaks, who lives, fully, boldly, truthfully. And if you're still with me now, if your heart is beating a little faster, if your stomach is tight, if your throat feels heavy, it's because your soul just recognized itself in these words. This was never about motivation. This was about remembrance. Remembering who you were before fear, before shame, before the world told you who to be. You're not here to play it safe. You're not here to follow the script. You're here to live like the sky isn't the limit, but the beginning. So take the risk. Say the thing, quit the thing. Start the thing, walk away, run toward, just move. Move in the direction of freedom, even if it's messy, even if it's slow, even if it scares the hell out of you. Because fear doesn't get the last word anymore. You do. And here's one final truth to carry with you. A seed to plant in the dark and let it grow in its own time. If you're not living the life you chose, you still have time to change everything. Right now, in this breath, in this moment. Not for the world, not for the applause, but for the part of you that's been whispering, there's more than this. And there is. There always has been. It's been waiting on the other side of your fear. And now, you're ready to walk through.